Amadi, and this is a testimony of my experience in June and July 2020. So this video is about my testimony, how I got healed of an enlarged liver, perforations in my digestive system, low blood pressure, and a few other complications I had in 2020 in the heat of the pandemic. So it all started on my birthday in May. I was born on May 30th. So I'm a designer. I also make videos, I shoot videos, weddings, events, and I also do a whole lot of creative stuff. That's why you have the name Creative God here written here. So back to my story. It started on my birthday. I was feeling sick. Back then I was in Port Harcourt, and I just woke up to ease myself, like to take a leak, and I passed out literally. So some friends were in my house and my brother, they helped me up and helped me get some medications. So after that, it took a while. I was trying to recuperate, but things didn't work out very well. So I decided to go home to see my parents. My mom is a health worker and my dad is a pastor. So I went home and explained everything to them. So that was what happened from the beginning. Then from there, my mom gave me a drip. I was going to help, like, reduce the fever and all of that, but things became worse. In the middle of the night, I felt so much pains in my abdomen, in my stomach. It was like someone was hitting me with something, and I kept screaming, and they came to help me out and prayed with me. I felt a little better. So the next day we went to the hospital, and the hospital in this case was our family clinic in Port Harcourt, Emmanuel Clinic, that's the name. When we got there, the doctors and everyone did their vitals and all, just to check my body temperature, and I was given some injections, and after that, and they gave me some medications. I felt better. I went back home. I thought that was going to be the end, and when I finished my medications I'll be fine, but it didn't work that way. It didn't really work that way. So when we got back home, my parents, everyone later went out. I was left with my brother at home, Wisdom, our last born. So he was playing football with his friends. I was indoors. All of a sudden, I began to feel that pain again in my stomach. This time it became sharper. I couldn't even breathe well. I felt like I was gasping for air all the time. So I called him and explained to him that I needed to go back to the hospital because I wasn't feeling okay. So he just quickly washed his leg. He didn't have time to shower. He took me to the hospital again. I didn't even inform my parents that I was going back this time around. So I went back to the hospital and told them, explained how I was feeling. So they admitted me, gave me infusions, that's a drip, and I was there. I was feeling a little better, but I was still feeling sick. So my parents were informed that I was in the hospital again. They came this time around and came to check up on me. And my dad thought it was just something minor. So after that, I was in the hospital. The doctor did some tests, ran some checkups again, and he called my dad and told him after that day I was admitted again. I stayed 2-3 days. He told my dad that they had treated, because they found out I had what this result showed was that I had tonsillitis. That's like an infection in the throat or something, and that I had malaria, like a +2 malaria. So the doctor explained to my dad, and these were his words: young men don't get sick for long like this. Your son is having complications and he needs to go for a scan. And so the doctor wrote, Dr. Emmanuel, he wrote a letter, or I think a referral letter, to a teaching hospital where we could do a scan in Port Harcourt. In this case, it was BMH, Brightway Memorial Hospital, somewhere in around OGRA in Port Harcourt. So we took a cab, we left for the hospital. So I know I've skipped so many parts because I don't want this to be quite long, but I just have to say how it is. So I'm sorry if it's too long, but I hope you're going to learn something out of this. And so going forward, we stepped out and went to BMH. Everything was quite slow, I must say. It was quite slow. I was asked to wait outside. I sat down. My father ran up and down, was trying to get papers from different places, pay for different things. So there was nothing like, it was an emergency ward, but before you get into the emergency ward, you have to go through a lot of rigorous processes, and payments were involved. It was raining. I was in pains. I could hardly breathe. And all this while, I had not eaten for days. Whatever I ate, I threw it up. I don't know what was happening to me, but I couldn't digest food. My blood pressure was very low. It fell below, I think, is it below 60, or I don't know, one of them. It fell below 60 or so. So going forward, my dad came back, and after running around, he took me to the emergency ward. They took my blood, took some samples, ran some tests. I was admitted. So my dad stayed with me, and all this while I couldn't press my phone. I love pressing my phone so much, but I couldn't even do anything with my phone. All I could think of was, is this me, the healthy prince who used to jog every morning, who used to do exercise, who is always lively around people and all? But I felt helpless in that scenario. I felt very helpless for the first time in my life. Like, I couldn't help myself. My dad was still there running around, and after being admitted, they infused me with some drips, very big drips. I think it was it contained normal saline. I think they were trying to make my blood pressure stabilize a little or come a bit higher, because to them my blood pressure was very low and it was risky. I was always breathing like this, and I struggled to breathe. I knew that day I was admitted was like I think on a Thursday or Friday. I lost consciousness after that first 2 days or so. I didn't know what happened around me after that. Like, for 2 days I think I lost consciousness. And around me in the hospital, a lot of things happened. I saw lots of people die. I saw someone breathe his last. No, I saw at least 3 people breathe their last. The ones I saw with my eyes. One was a guy that had hernia, so he died in pains. I remember his last words were, he told then my in-law now, he used to be a friend and a fiancé to my elder sister. He was around later. Him and my elder sister came around. My elder sister is Ada. They were around taking care of me, so they took turns. My dad would go home, shower, they would tell him to go home and shower and come back, while they took turns to look after me. So the man that died last, I could remember, he told my in-law to get him a tin of milk. He was always crying. The man was always crying of pains. He would tell the doctors, please just give me this injection so I would sleep and forget my pain. I could only picture the kind of pains he was going through. I was also in pains, but I didn't understand the pains he was going through. I think it was too severe, because he was always crying and hoping that the pains would go away. But after he drank that milk, he lay down for a while, slept off. He gave him the injection, he slept off. And I think he woke up, drank the milk again, and that was it. The milk fell out of his hand, and that was his last breath. That was all. So, going back, after everything I saw in that place, it looked scary, I would not lie. I was scared I was also going to die, because the way the doctors looked at me, most of the doctors looked at me, they looked at me like there was no hope. But there are a few doctors that actually cared for me. Dr. Chineye is one of them, and just like 2 others. So this whole thing happened in 2020. May 30th was my birthday, don't forget. So this whole thing was happening in June. So and this was also during the heat of the coronavirus pandemic that ravaged the whole world and all of that. So some of the doctors that were assigned to take care of me, they said they later discovered that one of them was compromised or contaminated, so they had to quarantine the full team. So I got less attention at this stage. They were not attending to me very well, but at this stage they moved me from emergency ward. When I later gained consciousness, they moved me from emergency ward to male ward, that was upstairs. So went up, gave me a bed. In this hospital, everything was quite different. In my family clinic, they would do everything for you and give you a bill to pay at the end of the day. But in this case, it was different. I've never seen this before. So what they did was, you pay for everything in this hospital. You pay for cotton wool, you pay for scissors, you pay for hand gloves, you pay for almost everything they use. Even the drips they're giving you, you're paid, you're going to buy it immediately. You have to give them money to go get it. They'll tell you what to buy. So everything was strenuous. People around me had to keep running up and down to get stuff. It was a long one. I stayed there for days. My family took turns. My brothers, I have two younger brothers, one younger sister and an elder sister. And my younger sister was working at the time, but she took breaks to come look after me, and everyone sacrificed their time. My loved ones, my friends, my family. So when my friends came, some people were worried because I always post some funny things on my WhatsApp, and they're no longer seeing my posts for a month, and people became worried. Some people started checking up on me, trying to call, send messages, and someone was always answering the call, not me, either my dad or my sister or someone else. I would just stay and watch them hopelessly and helplessly taking my calls. I didn't even have the strength to do anything. When they did the tests, the first time I came to the hospital, it took like a week or some days before the results came out, and they found out that I had an enlarged liver. That was one of the issues I had. Enlarged liver. I also had perforations in my, I think, digestive system also. The results showed low blood pressure, showed that I now had ulcer, showed that I had perforations in my bowels or something. Also showed that I had some infections in my system as well, and malaria was also part of it. There were so many things happening to me. So when I was moved to the male ward, my legs began to swell. I came with these slippers and I couldn't wear it anymore. My legs became very fat. This is what it looks like. You should be seeing it on your screen. This is what I looked like at that time. My legs became swollen. I had to use wheelchair to move around. My stomach was also swollen. I could barely eat, and I was always on drip. So let me just try to round everything up quickly. My in-law now, he's my in-law now because he married my sister. He used to be her fiancé then. I will be calling him my in-law in the course of the video because this is 2022. I'm making this video in 2022 now, like 2 years later. So he was mostly around, even when others took breaks. He was mostly around. He bathed me, took care of me, and did a whole lot for me. He even fed me. I'm really grateful to him. His name is Prince Tom. He's a very, very nice guy, and he looked out for me throughout this whole period. So to cut the long story short, after a month and like 3 weeks, I was now in July. I was still in the hospital in July, like second week of July or so. I began to have this fever, constant fever, and the fever would come with so much force. The nurses on duty will come and give me paracetamol injections to calm this fever down, but instead it grew worse. And when I was having this fever, I would be blabbing words here in physical, like in real life. People around me would be watching me, and they said I was saying funny stuff, like I was speaking gibberish, like someone that is shivering. But what I actually saw was quite different from them. So it was like I was having a dream for those 5-day period. It was really intense. In that dream, I would see a man. This man used to cover his head with like a hood. He had no face, and he would just beckon on me to come, follow me, and I would follow him. When we were walking, my head was always down, like I was looking sad. It wasn't just me. There are so many people, and we were walking down a very broad road that looked like there was no end, just looked like an empty space. So we'll keep walking far, Then I'll hear my name, Prince, Prince. Then whenever I heard my name like that, I'll normally, as a person, I want to respond. So I'll just turn back to see who's calling. Immediately I turn back, I'll wake up and I'll see my dad around, like in sitting down there calling. He was one calling me like in real life. So I asked them what was going on. They explained to me that I was speaking gibberish. So I told my dad what I saw. So he told me to pray against it, the spirit of death. That's what he said in his words. So that's kept repeating itself for like 4 days. My dad told me that whenever I saw the man, I should tell him that I don't want to see him again. I said okay. So the last day I had that dream, that night, I was lying down, I was sleeping. So I was having fever again, but all this period they were giving me injection and giving me medicine. Nothing was really working. My elder sister, she would use a hand towel and dip in the water and clean my body a little so that the fever would die down a bit. But it helped a little, but the fever was still there. Then in the morning it would gradually go away. It usually happened at night. So that night I was sleeping, I saw the man again. This time he beckoned on me to follow him. I refused to follow him. I told him no, I don't want to see you again, I don't want to follow you. So this time he spoke. He didn't used to talk before. He spoke and he asked me why, but I didn't see his face. It's like he had no face. He asked me why, so I told him all the people following you are always not happy, and it means that if I follow you I won't be happy, so I don't want to follow you again. Immediately I said those words, I just turned my back and I woke up in real life. So that same night as I woke up, I saw my sister cleaning my body. Then she was playing a gospel music from one of my my childhood friends. He's a musician, his name is Mr. Wells. So he did different songs and a cover of his song. So I heard the song was My Altar Is Calling You. Yes, I'll drop a link to the song in this video so you can play it later and listen to it. So I had this compulsion in my spirit to take the phone from her and listen to the song. So I told her, please give me the phone. She said, any problem, just give me the phone. Play that song you were playing before. She played it again. She put it on repeat. She put it on repeat. She gave it to me. I felt so much power in my body. I felt the urge to pray. I took the phone. My swollen legs, coming down from the bed was like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like when you're sleeping in the night and someone asks you to go turn off the lights. It was that stressful, and coupled with the pains in my leg. My legs were so heavy. I feel the heaviness of my legs, like they tied stones to it and asked me to come down. That's how heavy my legs used to be. So I needed support to come down, to even sit down to use the toilet was a problem. Then I remember, before I would sit down, it would take me almost 10 minutes. Then when I sit, to stand up, to take me, even after I finished using the toilet, to stand up would take me a lot, almost an hour. I would not be able to stand up except I have support from someone. So that night, I struggled. I came down from that bed. I knelt down. That was how I just felt in my spirit to act. I knelt down, and this was my prayer. I'm not going to add anything or to add anything extra. I'm going to say it the way I said that prayer. I can never forget the prayer, the words I used. I said, Heavenly Father, I know that I'm not very righteous, but I'm trying. Please, I've been sick for too long. I don't deserve to go through this pain for this long. Please heal me. I know you can do it. I know you have all the power to do it, and I believe you'll do it. Heal me. And that was all. And I was taught to pray in a way that when you pray is a conversation. So you don't just pray and walk away. You pray and listen, because you're having a conversation with someone. So when you're having a conversation, you talk and you expect a response. So sometimes the answer is yes. Sometimes the answer is no. Sometimes the answer is wait a little. Sometimes the answers could not come immediately. It could come in the form of ideas. It could come in the form of a word from someone around you. Someone can just say something and that would be the answer to your prayers. Someone can act and that will be the answer to your prayers. So the knowledge I had of that helped me to understand that I needed to wait and listen. So I listened. If I would hear anything or see anything. I didn't see anything. To be honest, I didn't hear anything. So as I was about standing up after a couple of minutes, It was like another eyes opened. Not this eye I'm using here, like another eyes. My eyes were still shut. I was trying to stand up. So like I had another eyes open, and I saw like a cloud with like a seat, like a golden colored seat, like a throne or something like that. Let me put it that way, throne. And it was so bright. It was so bright, like I couldn't really see it very well, but I know I saw gold color, and it was bright, so white and bright, like the light coming out of it. Then it just faded away. I had this feeling of peace in my mind. So I told my sister that God has answered my prayers. She said, "Oh, that's nice, thank God." So she wanted to continue cleaning my body. I told her, "No, don't clean my body anymore. If I'm going to die, let me die. I'm tired. Don't clean my body anymore. I know God has healed me. God will heal me." Those are the words I used. So I went back and I lay down. I slept. So this time around, as I slept, it was like after like some hours. I don't know what time it was. I know it wasn't morning yet. It was probably early in the morning, like let's say 2-3 a.m. I was sleeping, and it was all of a sudden, it was like I was dreaming. But I know it wasn't a dream, because what I saw, I could not fathom it with my normal human brain. Like it looked, if you explain it to a normal human, they would not really understand, or it would look confusing to them. But I know what I saw. So what I was seeing was myself. I was on the bed, lying down. Another part of me was standing, watching myself lying on the bed. Then the real me was sleeping. My eyes were shut. Then it was as if that part of me on the bed that was lying down on that bed was another part of, like the second it was like I was three at that moment. One standing, one on the bed sleeping as a human being, and the third one still on that same bed with eyes opened. Then I saw a man and a lady wearing white, like they looked like doctors. So I was in the hospital, so I thought they were doctors. So the man, they covered their face with like a mask or something. They were I don't know. I think they wore hand gloves. Yes, they wore hand gloves. But what I can remember is that the one that looked like a male figure, looked at me like with pity or compassion and shook his head like this, and like with pity. When you see someone that's in pain or something, you pity the person. That kind of look. That's what I saw. Then the other being I saw, they were so bright, they were so clean, like when you see very neat doctors that are so neat, they are clothes so white, clean, like there's no stain or spot on them. So they had these transparent zipper bags, these bags you use in putting meat and some other things to store in your fridge or something. Those transparent nylon or bags that have, like, I don't know what they call them, zipper bags or something. The lady, I don't know if it's a lady, but I know the person looked like a lady, had one of that bag in her hand, and also had a plate in her hand that looked like a surgical plate, where they put stuff after, like when you do a surgery, you put, let's say you're removing a bullet and you put it inside, that kind of plate. So the man just, what he did was he just brought his hand. I was thinking he wanted to do something to me, or maybe inject me or infuse me with a drip. But the man just brought his hand like this and put it on my stomach, like he wanted to like put it on my stomach. Next thing, his hand entered inside my stomach, but he didn't tear anything with any knife or anything. As his hand went inside, he brought out an organ. So that zipper bag I said they were with, there was something like an organ inside of it. It looked very new, very clean and new. So the man put his hand inside and brought out something similar, exactly similar to what was in that zipper bag, and put it inside the plate. Then he stretched his hand, the lady gave him the zipper bag, he put his hand inside, brought that same thing he brought out from my stomach, but this one looked new and clean, and put it inside my stomach. Immediately he just put it in my stomach and brought out his hand. I didn't see the two of them again. I don't know, I didn't just see them anymore. Like, I did not notice where they walked to. They didn't walk out, but I know I didn't see them anymore. Then the physical me, the real me, now stood up. I did not see the other part of me that was standing and watching anymore. I did not see the other part of me that was seeing them anymore. It was just me. So I asked my sister and her husband. They were the ones with me at that time. my dad went home that day for like he went home to take a break. So they were once with me, and I asked them, did you see the doctors that came? Because I thought it was real, like okay, maybe they are treating me or something. They said nobody came here. I said I saw 2 doctors. I kept on arguing with them. They said nobody. So I stood up from the bed myself and walked to the toilet to use myself. That was when I realized I was walking on my own. Because before I was using a wheelchair. So I was really, my sisters were like, you're walking. I didn't even realize. So it didn't even take up to 2 days. I woke the next day, my leg had started going down, like it was drying up on its own. I stayed in the hospital for like a week more, and my whole body began to heal again. I started feeling healthy, I started feeling alive, I started becoming hungry for food. I wanted to eat. So my sisters came around one day, took me to the mall. I told them I wanted to eat ice cream, so they took me to the mall. I was so weak, though I was recovering already. I was so weak. I passed out in their hand. I didn't even know what happened. My ear was just wheezing, my eyes were turning me. I passed out. I woke up again. We got the ice cream. That was the only thing I was craving for, ice cream. I wanted to just eat ice cream. So they got me ice cream. They really took good care of me, honestly, and God is going to bless every single person that helped me one way or the other. So I began to feel better in Lagos, and some of my colleagues back then contributed money for me. Most of my colleagues contributed money for me when they heard what happened. I don't know, someone knew, my father told someone, I don't know, someone called and asked. My father told them I was in the hospital. So the person informed others, they contributed for me, and up to the sum of about, I think, 200,000 naira. And some other of my colleagues also still contributed again. Then my friends where I did my youth service, NYSC, they heard about it too. They contributed as well. I think at the end of the day, they contributed everything I had, that from contributions from friends and different people, was amounting to about 300 to 400,000. And to be honest, I didn't really expect all of that love. I was really surprised. I was amazed, because the bills I incurred at the hospital was so much, and that helped to like reduce the whole burden and everything at that time. So I had money to take care of some things, to buy food and other things, transportation, hospital bills, the bed, and everything I had to pay for. Plus all the scans, the results, and everything they were running up and down for needed to be funded by cash. And to be honest, the money people contributed for me went a long way. I'm really grateful to everyone that contributed for that cause. I'm really grateful. So going forward, I stayed for a week plus. I was not getting so much attention like I needed. Told my sister that I wanted to go home. She was even convincing me to go home, because I was trying to get the attention of the hospital to ask if I'm okay to go and all, because I knew I was feeling better. My legs had dried at this point. My legs were no longer swollen. My stomach had gone back to normal. I knew inside of me that I was okay, because I knew how I was feeling before that. The blood pressure had come back to normal. I was so hungry. I was better. So we decided to just go home. I decided to go home. I told my sister, okay, I want to go home. So we called my dad. My mom came finally to the hospital. Okay, before that, I remember something. The experience I had in the hospital with those people I saw that removed an organ in my stomach. My mom had a similar dream that same night. I just remembered, because when I woke up the next day, my dad came to the hospital and he wanted to share an experience. Like he wanted to share something with me. I was about to tell him what I saw. So I heard a voice telling me to just calm down and listen to him. So he was telling me my mom had a dream, because my mom was at home. My dad didn't let her come to see me after the first day I was admitted, because he knows she was going to cry and all of that. So he didn't want her to cry and make me feel maybe hopeless or feel bad or something. So she had a dream, and according to my dad, according to what he said, he narrated everything, that in that dream they saw me. She actually saw me in the dream lying down. Exactly this, almost the same thing. Everything I saw was what she saw, but this time around hers was a dream. She said she saw 2 angels, and they were asking her, "It's the liver, right?" She said yes. They said, "Okay, take." They gave it to her in her hand. She put it inside my stomach, the same way those people did the same thing to me, and I was okay in that dream. So I just smiled and told my dad my experience. He was so happy. He was excited. He was like, God has answered our prayers. So going forward, I agreed to leave the hospital. they brought some papers, asked me to sign that I'm going on my own will and not that they are discharging me. I said it's fine. I signed and I left. So when I got home, I slept that night and I had a dream. I saw angels talking to me, but I know they were angels. They're not just normal humans. They told me things I needed to do as I was at home. One of the things they told me was that I should get fruit and take these fruits every morning. After taking water, I take water in the morning first, take fruits next. The fruits I saw in that dream they were telling me to take was watermelon and pineapple. I should take those fruits every morning before eating food, before eating breakfast. And there was a medicine I was seeing in that dream also. They're telling me to get, or Heptal also. So I woke up and told my parents that I need them to help me get this medicine and the fruits. So I kept on doing that, and I began to recover. I began to feel alive. My body began to come back to normal. I was so thin. I lost a lot of weight. I began to recuperate. I began to recover very fast, and in a short time, I was beginning to get myself again, begin to feel alive. And okay, I and my parents will now decide to go back to the hospital. Like that's our family clinic, Emmanuel Clinic, where I went to first before they referred me to the teaching hospital. We decided to go back there for checkup and to see how my body was doing and all. So when we got there, doctor saw my results and he was like, "Wow, you've been through a lot, young man. You've gone through the eye of the needle. This is a lot." He was really surprised. He was like, "God really healed you." So after that, he asked me what I was taking. I told him what I was taking. He said that's actually fine. They ran some tests. He just gave me a little more multivitamins to add to what I was already taking. He asked me to continue taking what I was taking, the fruits and the medicine I was taking. And I asked him when I could do another scan to check how my organs were doing and everything. So he said in a month's time. So in a month's time, I finally went for a scan in a different. I went to BMH, the same hospital where I was admitted later, but the crowd was much, and many people were not even. Many people were like on a queue. I couldn't wait for long, so I went to a different lab, and they ran another. They were about to run another test. The man asked me why I wanted to do a scan. I told him I had an enlarged liver before, but I'm fine now. He said, "How do I know?" He asked the question, "How do you know you're fine?" I said, "Because I know what I saw." I explained everything to him. He said laughing. He said, "I'm joking." I told him, "Look at me very well. Do I look like a religious extremist or someone that is so over religious that you see outside and know that this one is a pastor? I don't look that way, but for me to tell you this, you should believe me." So he was like, let us see the results." So I showed him. I went with my old results. Then I had a picture of it on my phone, but I lost some of these pictures when my phone had an issue. So I went to the what's it called, the bed. I laid down. He did the scan and everything. After some time, the results came out. He was like, "Let me see that old result again." So I showed it to him. He was comparing both of them. He called his colleague. He said, "Come and see you. This guy said he saw people that changed his liver in a dream. I be vision. I don't know which one." So he was like, "Whatever you're worshipping, hold him strong. Whatever God you're worshipping, hold him strong." I said, "Yes, definitely. I know the God I serve, and I know what I saw. I know God healed me. I know God healed me in that hospital." So that was how it all went, and I saw the new results. My liver was back to normal. After that, I went back home. After a couple of time, when I was still trying to recover, my whole skin from head to toe peeled off. Like it was as if, you know, when you wash with harsh soap or something and your skin hand begins to peel. It happened to all my body, from my head to my toe, and everything was peeling off like that. My whole body, my skin peeled, and it was like a new skin came out. I began to look like a baby. I was looking very fresh that period. I looked very healthy. So I'm doing this video because I've been compelled to, not by people, but whenever I sleep, I feel the need to do this. I feel like there's someone out there that needs to see this video. I feel like it's God asking me to do this testimony video to strengthen your faith. If you're watching this and you have any serious health challenge or any issue, maybe with life, maybe personal issues, maybe marital, whatever issues you're having, I'm not a pastor, I'm not a minister, I'm just a normal filmmaker. I shoot videos, like I said earlier. I shoot videos, movies, and I shoot different things. I'm a photographer as well. But if God can heal someone like me that is so imperfect, if God can heal me with in such a miraculous way, then I want you to know that there is nothing impossible for Him to do for you. Your case might be more challenging, but if you believe, not just say, not because everyone is saying it or everyone is doing it, but if you really believe in your heart, you know your God, and your God is really bigger than everything, bigger than all these sicknesses and all, and He made you for a reason, then you shouldn't be scared of dying or scared of that problem that wants to eat you up. You should have faith, trust in God, tap into this testimony, and I believe that everything will be okay. It might take some time, it will not just happen all of a sudden, but you need to also play your own part. If you're sick, I would advise you always go to a hospital, do a test, know what is wrong with you. When God has seen that you're trying and you've done your best and there's nothing like anyone can do for you anymore, then He will step in and help you. This is my testimony. I am a testimony. I'm a living testimony. As you're seeing this video, you're seeing a living testimony talking to you. Sometimes I wake up and I'll be like, so this whole thing really happened. It feels like it was a dream, or maybe this is another life. Maybe I'm in a different world. That's how I feel sometimes. Like, okay, that's another world. Maybe I died and this is another world. This is how that world looks. But no matter what happens, I always realize that it is not another world. It is still the same place. I'm here. And all of this is real. Because it looks like what I used to see in the movies. You hear this one happen, people tell you their experiences. I didn't used to believe most of these things, but it happened to me. It happened to me, and I'm really amazed. I learned a lot of things in all of this, that life is the air you breathe. So you need to be grateful for a lot of things. I'm grateful for a lot more now. I'm grateful for walking. I'm grateful for talking. I'm grateful for smiling. I'm grateful for waking up. I'm grateful for brushing my teeth myself, taking a shower myself. I'm grateful for talking. I'm grateful for being able to hold the camera to shoot. I'm grateful for every single thing, every single moment, every single hour, every minute, every second in this life. I'm grateful for it, whether it's in pain, anger, happiness, or whatever. I understood better that life is much more than the way we see it. Everything is important, everything matters. So take your life more seriously, take care of yourself, and always take your spiritual life very, very seriously as well. Because God is real. God is real. Don't let anyone lie to you. God is real. You don't really need anything to prove to you that God is real. There are a lot of things to prove to you that God is real. If there's nothing else, look at me. I'm alive today. I'm healthy. I'm strong. You can go to the hospital and ask them, verify, and they'll tell you that yes, there was a guy like this. I went back to PMH. I felt the need to visit. I went back to see some people that were still sick in the male ward where I stayed. They could not recognize me. I had to explain myself. I'm that guy that was here. They said, no, you're not. How would you say you're that guy? That guy, they said he was going to die, because most of the doctors felt I was going to die. They were whispering words sometimes, and I would overhear them. They were thinking I was sleeping sometimes, but I used to hear them. They would say, that case, no hope. Oh. That guy, no hope. He owned that just any day, if it happen anytime, maybe God just help him. That was what they always say most of the time. I would overhear them. But in all, I had faith, I believed, and God healed me. He can do the same for you. I believe that I've done my own part by bringing this video to you. You will do your own part by believing. May God continually bless everyone that contributed to me financially, emotionally, any way possible. Prince Tom, who took care of me in the hospital, my siblings, Ada, Cheesy, my younger sister, Promise, Wisdom, all of them took turns to stay with me in the hospital. My mom, my dad, my aunties, Auntie Waka, my extended family, they all came to see me in the hospital. All those that gave me money, even those I could not remember because I was so weak to stand up, even people that called to check up on me and all. My friends from my NYC group, Platoon 6 in Lagos, my guys at InterSwitch, at design team or the marketing team, and a whole lot of people. I'm really grateful for all these people. I'm really grateful for people that have never met me physically before, but they know me, let's say online, and they heard what happened and they called to check up and they tried to reach out. I'm really grateful for all of you, even those that were not aware because they were not informed. If later found out and they tried to reach out as well, I'm still grateful because I know you all have me at heart, and I know I'm loved, and I love you all too. May God bless everyone that is watching this video.
I am Reverend Amadi Eze, father to Prince Amadi. I just want to say brief about what God did the year 2020 during the COVID-19. It was at the month of June that I took my son Prince to Emmanuel Clinic when he was sick, and he was diagnosed nothing like COVID-19 symptom. All I could hear from the doctor is that take your son to UPTH, that if he passed 1 hour, I will lose him. I was upset, and I told the doctor I will not take my son to UPTH, rather I will go to BMH. And it was almost 6 o'clock. I have to board taxi to BMH. When I got there, my son cannot walk again. I was carrying him. And of course, you know the process of emergency in BMH. By the time I finished every process, it was 10 o'clock already in the night. And I bought every drugs, prescribed everything, doctor checked everything. We went for tests and run all the tests. When we came back, they refused to tell me what the test was all about. And the doctors were commencing their treatment. The following morning, my son was a bit healthy. That made us walk around the BMH. Meanwhile, at this point in time, my wife just came back from hospital for eye operation. So she was at home. I now walked with Prince around the hospital at a time. He said, "Daddy, I'm free." I said, "Oh, good." I was happy. But in the night of that very day, I nearly lost my son. That very night, more than 4 to 5 persons died around us. The person by the left, the person by the right, where we are putting our heads. I mean, it was a very terrible situation that everybody in the hospital was crying. I have to pray all the night. And by the grace of God, God revived my son. So, it was in the morning that one medical doctor, Amadi by name, came to examine him. And when he came, he saw the name and he called me, "Are you the father?" I said, "Yes." I now approached him. He said that he's an Ikure man. I discussed with him. He said, "My brother, this case is a serious case, that nobody survives this. I should pray. Since I say I'm a pastor, I should pray." I said, "Okay, what is really the problem?" He said he has problem with the liver. I said, "Don't they remedy liver?" He said the thing has gone beyond. Wow. By this time, my son is swelling up. The stomach, the hands, the leg. It's only the head that is a bit as it was. So everywhere was swelling up. We tried all we could. And I was sleeping there with him every day, every night. Going around, disturbing doctors. And it's a very long story. One of the day, as I was passing on the walkway inside the hospital, 2 doctors and the nurse was discussing my son, and they never knew that the person they are discussing is my son. They said it to my hearing, that boy, they are just waiting for the next action, which is death. I said, oh, my son will die? No way. I was praying always. Because of my son, I felt sick. Rain was beating me outside. I walked around praying and calling God, also meeting doctors. I thank God for one doctor, Onu, a female doctor, who paid attention to my son. Every minute that is on duty, she's there to attend to her. Well, as God may have it, one of the doctors that run the test on my son met us in the emergency, and he called me, say, sir, are you still in the emergency? I said, yes. He said, no. Transfer yourself with your son to the main ward, which I took the advice and proceeded, paid every payable, and we were transferred to the main ward. And when I look at my son, one of the day, I was crying like a little child. And when he opened his eye, he called me. He said, Daddy, I said, eh? So are you crying? I said, why won't I cry? What came out of his mouth is that, Daddy, I will not die. I said, amen. And all these things was going on. He was so down that he can't walk. He was being rolled by wheelchair. In the process, doctors went for strike. No doctor attending to him again. All the drugs they said I should buy, there are injections I bought at 5,000 per one. And all those injections were there, nobody to administer. My son was just lying helpless. Then my daughter and her husband came to the hospital and said, Daddy, I should go back to the house so that I will not die there, because they saw my condition. I left to my house in the church where I'm pastoring. As I get there that Tuesday, I was teaching. I nearly fainted. My wife gave me water, I drank, and I was sustained. In that very situation, I called for 4 to 5 persons to join me and pray all the night with my wife for 3 days, which we carried out. In the process, God revealed himself. God spoke through one of the people and said, I will bring back your son to you. Right there, I believed God. And after the 3rd day, God showed my wife what is. By this time, I'm telling my wife, your son is okay. Your son is okay. He was at home, sick. So I was even telling her, don't bother yourself. Your son is okay. And after the prayer, God showed her the problem of the son. God showed her where Prince's liver is being destroyed completely. There's rotting, which is truth. Prince was urinating things like a cooked blood. Everywhere was. God is a wonderful God. So when my wife told me all this, how God asked her question, say, do you want me to change it or do you want me to amend? My wife could not answer the question. God showed her where he removed the liver that was bad and brought a new brown liver and put inside him. It's then my wife, when all this was revealed, my wife asked me, said, Daddy, you did not tell me that Prince has the liver. I said, who told you? He had narrated everything. I said, yes, Prince has a liver problem, but no problem, he will be okay. That very day also, God appeared to Prince in the hospital where he was lying. And the two doctors, spiritual doctors, were attending to him. He was lying down, the sister was there, the husband was there, Prince was lying down. All of a sudden he walked. He said, did you see the two doctors here? They said no. He said, two doctors was working on me here, right here. They said they didn't see doctor. And that is how his healing came. So God will change the liver to new liver, which led us to go and rerun test. After running the test, the machines and everything confirmed that he has a new liver fixed in him. To God be the glory. Even when I took him back to the clinic that referred us to UPTH, they didn't believe that he was the one. They thought he is late. But God, in his infinite mercy, saved my son. And today, I am rejoicing that my son is alive. To him be glory forever and ever. Amen. Prince, I think, Mommy, you can say something.
Miss Samadi is my name. I'm the mother to Prince Samadi. Just as my husband have rightly said, he was sick some time ago, and by the infinite mercies of God, God brought him back to life. It all happened that my own experience is that although I was operated and I was in the house, but when we had 3 days prayer, as I was lying on the altar, somebody came and tapped me, said, "Get up," and I got up. That person was holding something like what gecko that is dead. He was just holding it, pinching it like this, holding it. He said, "Follow me." I followed him. He said, "What do you say is your problem?" I said, "Liver." He said, "Liver?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Okay, follow me." As I was following him, he now showed me. He said, "I should look at the liver." When I saw the liver, it was like they used a needle to perforate the liver. It was perforated. So he said that he's going to repair it. I said, "Okay." Later he said, "No, I will not repair it. I will put a new liver." I said, "Okay." He now just do like this and brought the liver. The liver was in waterproof. He said I should look at it, that it's a new liver. He thought the waterproof before me. He now fixed it. When he fixed it, he said I should come and see that he has fixed the liver. I started thanking him. I said, "Thank you." So before I knew it, I opened my eyes. And I went and told my husband, "Look at what I saw as I was lying on the altar." My husband called the hospital. And my daughter started telling us that Prince told them that 2 persons came to work on him as he was lying. Whether they saw the person, they saw the people, they said no. So I want to say, to God be the glory, who made everything possible. The Bible said that there is no impossibility with God. God will always have mercy on whomsoever he wants to have mercy upon. I'm also using this opportunity to tell you that there's nothing that God cannot do. There is no impossibility with God. Are you passing through anything? Are you sick in your body? I want to let you know that God is a healer. He will heal you. Just believe him. He will heal you. Don't kill yourself because of that sickness. He will heal you. Believe him and pray concerning that situation that you are right now. He will heal you. In the name of Jesus. Amen.
Please, men and women that are listening to this very testimony, I want to encourage you that whatever you are passing through, you should know that there is God and that God is aware of it. First of all, go to him before any other thing. I went to God in prayers and he answered me. My brethren, it is clear that miracle have not ceased. It's still working till tomorrow. My son's own is a surprise to me. But I want to say, whatever situation you find yourself, God is able to remedy it if you trust in him. Thank you and God bless you.
So it's thanks. Keep watching my YouTube channel. I have a channel where I post videos of documentaries. I shoot documentaries, weddings, events, and I'm a photographer as well. So just keep watching my YouTube channel. I'll be posting a whole lot of other content later, but this is my testimony. Thank you so much.